All right, January 4th, 2018, Alpha versus Omega. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Amazing match. Did it live up to the hype? Certainly to me, it lived up to the hype. Now, to start this video, I want to just preference by saying this. I will not be reviewing Wrestle Kingdom 12 as it was it 5 hours long? And I feel like if I did a review of an event like that, this video could be like 45 minutes to an hour long, and I don't want to be doing a vlog for that long. Call me lazy, but I'd rather keep it on the shorter side. But um, this match from the beginning, the build up was awesome from Chris Jericho first planting the seeds on Twitter. I remember everybody on Twitter thought it was just trash talking. People were taking sides. He definitely played me because I was like, why the hell is Chris Jericho talking shit about Kenny Omega? They were going back and forth on Twitter. Chris was saying things like, oh, you could have 6-star matches, but who cares if nobody's there to watch them? When I'm in the WWE and I'm having matches, the whole world watches. They were just taking um, back and forth shots at each other, yada yada yada. It was really cool. And then of course it turned into an actual thing. I believe Kenny Omega had a match with Trent Beretta. I think if I got that wrong, go ahead. Let me know. I'm human. I'm bad with my memory. But after the match, he was like, "Oh, like I've beat them all. I have no, I have no opponents left. Like there's no one out here to come out here and challenge me for the match at the Dome in January. Like I've beat them all. There's nothing." Basically, he was like, "There's nothing left for me to do. There's no one else for me to face." Blah blah blah. Yada yada. Boom! They hit the music. That Judas music. Video comes out. Chris Jericho. Crowd goes crazy, and then Chris Jericho, cuts a promo of how a lot of people call themselves the best in the world. Edge called himself the best in the world. Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, but they're all gone, and he's still here. And then now that Kenny Omega's calling himself the best, and he's like, no, he's like, I'm gonna challenge you at Wrestle Kingdom to see who truthfully is the best. And he basically called him like a the bitch word at the end of the video, and they were off to the races and just mind blown. Like, it's like, dude, is this match really happening? You know. And then Chris Jericho did a sneak attack where he hit Omega with a code breaker. He hit Don Callis with the code breaker, and he busted him open. And he got, like, of course, he got color. He got like escorted, out of the building of what I forgot what New Japan show it was. And then, Kenny returned the favor by attacking Chris. And I think Chris was like at a press conference or some type of interview. I forgot. Again, I have bad memory. Um, he beat Chris up, and he got the favor back. Like he got his payback basically. And like from then on, like we knew this was not going to be a wrestling match. This was going to be a fight. Like there was some trash talking going on, and then of course the thing that solidified it was when they announced that it was going to be no disqualification. So now getting to the match, Chris Jericho comes out to Fozzy, of course, with his light bright jacket. People are going crazy. Comes down to the ring. Kenny comes down with the Young Bucks, and he did some type of cosplay that is in relation to some type of character design in Destiny. I don't play Destiny, but that's what I heard that cosplay was based on. And before the match even started, there was a bit of a brawl that broke out between the Young Bucks, Kenny and Chris, and they had to get it in order before they actually officially hit the bell. And you knew this was going to be a war. just from the way that the match was built up, from the little bit of chaos that went on before the match started. You knew that the next 34 or 35 minutes wasn't going to be like this instant classic of a wrestling match. That this was going to be like a nice brawl, and it was a nice brawl. Now, just to get like a couple things out of the way, I did get a little bit annoyed that this was a no DQ match, but they were still doing the 20 count on the outside, and they were still doing rope breaks. That made no sense to me. Now, I'm pretty sure other people are bringing this up as an issue. Just something I noticed. Didn't like it, but match starts off. They're stiffing each other, chops, kicks, going back and forth. Of course, they end up fighting on the outside. Kenny gets the better of Chris. He goes for I think like a dive, because I think he was trying to position Chris on the table, or Chris was around the announce table, and Kenny tried to dive from the outside of the. I think he was like on the ring post, and he tried to dive towards Chris, towards the announce table. Of course, Chris moves out of the way. Kenny crashes and burns, and I believe he hit Don Callis. I think that was his name, poor Don Callis. And he hit, Don Callis earlier had got hit by a code breaker. But anyways, they did the whole bit like they were going to stretch her out, Don Callis. Like, oh my God, the announcer got hit. Oh my God, what's going on? And they're brawling back and forth. Chris is like talking crap to the announcers. Like he's talking crap to the officials. At one point, he puts one of the officials in the walls of Jericho, and then he follows up by putting, I guess, the official's son in a lion tamer, like he was doing the old school, cool version of where like he's arching the neck and the back instead of doing just the regular sit down version. Of course, excuse me. Of course, Kenny breaks that up. They continue brawling. They set up like this little Japanese table, which is kind of cute because the Japanese tables are like tiny, not like the American tables, like over here that they use in ECW, WCW, WWE, whatever. These tables were tiny, and Chris was teasing like he was gonna power bomb Kenny through it. So he gets him up for the power bomb. Kenny, of course, punches his way out of it. And Chris, instead of releasing him and instead of power bombing to the table, just turns around and just power bombs him. This is nasty. Just power bombs him just on the concrete on the outside. Even though technically speaking, that actually more dangerous than actually getting power bombed to the table. The table actually just breaks your fall. But that was a sick spot. And then another like subtle cool thing that I saw that Chris did. Chris grabbed one of the photographer's cameras, and he was taking shots as he gave the crowd like the middle finger, like if you guys up yours, motions and stuff. Just little stuff like that was real cool. I really don't want to break down the whole match because I feel like it's 34 minutes worth, and it's a lot of brawling going back and forth, and I want to get too technical and break everything down. But I'll just break down the stuff that I like. And another cool spot that I liked was Chris bringing out the steel chair. He's beating the crap out of Kenny with the steel chair, setting up, wedging the steel chair in the corner, the turnbuckle. Kenny would eventually get his head knocked into there, get color, yada yada. Another spot that I enjoyed was Chris throughout the course of the match kept reversing Kenny with different rolls into the walls of Jericho, which was genius. It was beautiful. Every time he did a counter, it seemed to be different and cool. That was awesome to watch. At one point, he did have Kenny in the walls of Jericho, and Kenny managed to crawl towards the corner. And he was looking for like something under the apron while in the walls in Jericho. gets a hair product. I don't want to say it's hairspray. I forgot what it was. And he sprays Jericho right in the face. Of course, Jericho breaks the walls of Jericho. And then Kenny, like sprays his hair with it, sprays under his arm, sprays under his crotch. Of course, they did the zoom up on Kenny. Kenny's hilarious. That was actually pretty funny. And then just stuff like that. Like Chris was just healing it up. There's a lot of intense stuff. There's a lot of really really stiff V triggers, like these vicious knees that Kenny was hitting Jericho with. Like he was not holding back. Like he wasn't protecting Chris. Like he was hitting him with it. They were just stiffing each other. Chris did hit a code breaker. Kenny took a beautiful bump. He spiked it. Looked amazing. Of course, it was just a tease. Uh, he did attempt to hit Chris with the one winged angel. Of course, Chris again in an innovative counter. He rolled up Kenny from the attempted winged angel and transitioned into a Chris Walls of Jericho, and it looked beautiful. It was a beautiful counter. Like this whole match was just like awesome stuff. Not like the most technically precise match, but just awesome stuff after awesome stuff after awesome moments. And then finally, the closing moments in the match that led to the finish. I mean, was Chris goes for the lion salt. He hits the middle rope, and then Kenny hits him before Chris can actually execute the moonsault. And then he gets Chris on his shoulders for the one winged angel, aims it, and just hits the move on the chair. Drop Chris right on the chair. 1, 2, 3. Boom! End of match. Omega goes over. Crowd goes crazy. Amazing match. I love it. I don't care if it was 5 stars, or if it was 6 stars, whatever stars you want to call it. It was good. This was a good match. It lived up to the hype. It was nice because it was a different break. It was a nice break from the technical masterpieces that Kenny had with Okada, yada yada. This was nice because it was different. It was good because it stood out on the card. Very good. Um, a lot of people are saying like this is Jericho's last good match. I don't know about that. I think Chris, I'm pretty sure Chris still has like at least a couple more good matches in him. But again, I absolutely enjoyed it. I think people were like a little over exaggerating calling it Jericho's best match of his career. I don't think so. I still contend that Jericho's best work was the series of matches that he had with Chris Benoit, the series of matches that he had with HBK, and I think his last man standing match that he had with Triple H was better than this match. I think this match was really good. I think it delivered on the hype. It was a lot better than what people expected. And I'd say this is definitely Chris's best modern match. Best match in recent memory. Yes, that was the best match that he's had. Another thing, if you've never watched New Japan, this is a good match to get you into New Japan Wrestling. I highly suggest it. If you're a WWE fan, like me, you know Chris Jericho's a legend. You know he's good. Kenny Omega, amazing. He's every bit of a great wrestler that you hear he is. Definitely watch this match. So far, one of the best matches of 2018. I know. It's not much. It's not saying much. It's barely January, but awesome. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, for more wrestling related topics as well as other stuff, um, hit that like button and subscribe. It does content creators like myself a great deal if you did so. I'll also hit that little bell so you get notified when my videos upload. And remember to always smile. And I'll catch you guys down the road.